Shadows of Undrentide is the first expansion pack for Neverwinter Nights, a role-playing game set in the Forgotten Realms on the continent of Faerun. The story follows the adventures of an apprentice of a dwarven wizard named Drogon, who is tasked with recovering stolen artifacts that have great magical power. The story has 2 chapters and an interlude, each taking place in a different location and involving different enemies and allies.
Hilltop, one of many small villages that dot the most remote regions of the northern wildlands, known as the Silver Marches. Few would choose so cold and inhospitable a land to make their home. Only those seeking a new life, or to escape their past. It is in Hilltop that your mentor, Master Drogon, chose to settle after a lifetime of adventure. Here, he would pass on his knowledge to you, and a select few others with promise. It is here that evil comes in the shadows, and behind it, a sinister purpose that will see your own promise either realized in full or extinguished forever.
For this campaign, I decided to go with a standard half-orc great axe-wielding barbarian. We are studying in the village of Hilltop, along with 3 other apprentices, Xanos, Dorna, and Mishcha. The village is attacked by kobolds, who steal 4 artifacts from Drogon's laboratory and leave him poisoned. We learn that these artifacts are a mummified hand of a lich, a dragon tooth, a mask of a shadow priest, and a statue of a tower. We also meet Ayala, an elven harper, who reveals that she and Drogon are members of the secret organization that protects the balance of the world. Compared to the original campaign, I am already enjoying my surroundings in the snowy landscape of Hilltop. This instead feels more like what you would expect when you start a typical D&D campaign. A village has been attacked by kobolds. Go track them down and retrieve what they stole. I like how everything starts out small, and we aren't immediately tasked with saving an entire city from an entire plague. This also gives more opportunities for role-playing. Dialogue has more options now, and side quests easily intersect with the main quest. You feel like there is a lot less backtracking, and the campaign can be played based around the character's alignment. I also enjoy the fact that chests and treasure are fewer, but seem to be more purposeful and logical in their placement. You no longer have to spend hours and hours opening chests by smashing them or waiting for your henchmen to lockpick them. When you go into a dungeon or cave, you may find one treasure room or a chest at the end of a boss fight, but no longer do you feel like you are spending more time looting than adventuring. This also brings me to the henchman system of this expansion. The capability of the henchmen is slightly improved here compared to the original campaign. While still lacking in some ways, at least you are able to access their inventory and equip them with better weapons and armor should the opportunity arise. We begin an epic journey where we track down some kobolds and their leader, a dragon named Timofarar, who has ownership of some of the artifacts. This is also where we meet a kobold bard named Deacon, who has acquired the Tower artifact. He will refuse to give us this artifact unless we can free him from the creature whom he serves, who is none other than the dragon, Timofarar. We also discover that a mage named Janna is behind the theft, along with her army of gnolls who have laid waste to the village of Blumberg and that she serves a mysterious hooded woman who wants the artifacts for a sinister purpose. We find that, although the dragon and Janna are initially allies, Tumafarar secretly wishes that Janna can be destroyed. Being too weak to fight the dragon directly, we decide to take on his quest in the power struggle by killing Janna and turning her Null allies against her. Upon returning, and a few character levels stronger, we find that this dragon is just another evil, greedy dragon who simply used us as a pawn to defeat his rival. Given this realization, we are forced to fight and kill the dragon, which allows us to acquire a magical mask, one of the stolen artifacts of power. This results with good consequences for us as Deacon. The minstrel kobold is now willing to part with his tower statue trinket, giving us enough relics to return to Drogon. When we return home, Drogon, who has recovered from the poison, discovers that this tower trinket contains a powerful orb called the Mythalar, an extremely powerful artifact dated back to the ancient Netherese civilization. Drogon asks us to go to the Anauroch desert and find an archaeologist named Garrick, who might know more about this Mythalar.
The caravan makes slow progress as it leaves Hilltop, trudging through snowy hills for several weeks, before finally, the vast wasteland of the Anauroch desert opens up before you. This is a parched land, said to be the bones of the once great Netheril Empire, its complete destruction a mystery, lost to the passing of ages.
We travel across the desert with a halfling caravan, facing various dangers and mysteries. We finally reach a camp of Ao worshippers, where Garrick is studying some Netherese ruins. Garrick identifies the Mythalar as a device that was used by the ancient Netherese to power their flying cities. He also reveals that the tower statue is a key to one of those cities, called Undrentide, which is hidden in a pocket dimension. He warns us that the Mythalar is unstable and could cause a cataclysm if misused. He also tells us that the only way to reach Undrentide is to use a tower statue in a portal located in a nearby ruin. Upon arrival, we confront the hooded figure, who reveals herself to be Hordes, a powerful Medusa sorceress who is seeking to revive the Netherese flying city of Undrentide and use it to gain great power for herself.
Mythalar is hers, at long last. What follows is the oldest of Netherese rituals, lost to time but unearthed from the sands by Hordes, and now used by her to access the power of the Mythalar in full. You know that it is only a matter of time before Undrentide responds to her urging, the power of the Mythalar forcing the city to rise, slowly through the sands of the Anauroch, forcing it to take to the skies as it once did so long ago.
We are immediately robbed of our artifact and turned into stone. We awake and are freed from our stone by a slaver named Ashtar in the lower levels of the ancient city of Undrentide, once ruled by the powerful Netherese civilization, a city of wonders and horrors. Ashtar is driven by greed, and greed only. We are tasked with putting an end to the powerful golems which roam the different areas of Undrentide, so that his thrall can have easy access to the treasure that lies hidden within the city. We cannot stray too far from Ashtar, or else we receive a powerful shock from our caller. But once we complete his requests, he gives us more freedom to seek out the inner mysteries of Undrentide. As we explore the different sections of this vast city, we slowly acquire 3 different orbs that contain these magical winds which allow us to ascend to the higher levels of the city. It is here where we can finally confront Hordes and take revenge on the powerful Medusa. Hordes seeks to use the Mythalar to unleash a wave of shadow magic that would engulf the world in darkness.
Give it up! Human contact!
The groaning city begins to lean in its flight like a wounded bird. The crash into the ground that marks the second fall of Undrentide is heard and felt throughout Faerun. Most folk will stop and wonder and never know how close Hordes is to dominating them through the sheer power of the long-buried past. Some, however, such as the Harpers, know well the part you played in Hordes' end. They name you a hero, and throughout the realms, songs are sung of the sacrifices that you and Drogon made for them all. As for your own fate after escaping into the plane of shadow, it is unknown, even to the Harpers. The slave collar shattered on Ashtara's death, so you are free. Wherever your adventures lead you, however, one thing is certain. Your own tale is far from over.
After killing Hordes, we are able to escape from the collapsing city and return to the desert, a regional hero. Overall, this campaign showed a lot of improvement from the largely uninspired original campaign. The story is fantastical as before, but is way less disjointed. I liked how the story progressed from humble beginnings, something that you would come to expect from a low-level Dungeons & Dragons campaign. The writing and character development has improved as well, where you feel that this expansion was designed by a real-life dungeon master rather than a campaign generated from video game tropes. The campaign is much shorter than the original campaign, but this comes with better quality over quantity. Things just have more of a personal touch. I enjoyed the cutscenes between the chapters much more here as well. There is actual animation in the cutscenes this time, where in the original campaign, they just had some cheap concept art behind a narrator speaking in a wooden voice. The narrator in Shadows of Undrentide seems more akin to a dungeon master who is passionate about his campaign. Even the henchman banter was more fitting for this campaign, and I can see how BioWare developed and improved on this banter when they released Dragon Age Origins. Level design and locations have a purpose to the overall narrative, and not there just to be filler. Overall, if you want to try this game out, but you are not sure you will enjoy the original campaign due to its more mixed reviews, I highly recommend trying this campaign out first, as it will give you a better overall impression and idea of what good content can look like in this game with endless amounts of content to explore. There are a few downsides to the campaign that can certainly be mentioned. Some people might prefer exploring a world that tells many different stories through a wide variety of quests. If this is the case, this module may not suit you as well. There are several side quests in this campaign, but they all kind of loop around and reconnect with the main plot and narrative in the game. There really aren't that many secondary plot lines to speak of. If you are looking for a Baldur's Gate-like experience, this is certainly not the campaign for you. I say this all, but also realize that BioWare clearly meant this as a campaign that fit the feeling of a shorter tabletop D&D campaign, where it only takes about 6 to 7 sessions to complete before disbanding. The objective is not to explore some vast open world, but to link areas based on the story the DM and the players want to tell. Thank you all for taking your time to watch this video. I hoped you enjoyed it, and hope to be giving you guys an overview of the Hordes of the Underdark, the sequel to this expansion. Have a good one, and stay positive, folks.
Waterdeep, one of the greatest cities in all of Faerun. It is home to a multitude of peaceful townfolk from all races and all walks of life. Beneath Waterdeep, however, lies a different realm. This is the deep dungeon known as Undermountain. Built by the mad wizard Halaster. Here Halaster tests adventurers who trespass therein with the deadliest of traps and the most dangerous of creatures. All but the luckiest meet their deaths in its dark halls. Regardless of this presence beneath them, the people of Waterdeep feel safe enough. For while one may enter Undermountain, it is rare that anything actually comes out. Until now. For there is another realm that exists beneath even Undermountain, a place of shadows and evil known only as the Underdark. It is here that the sinister dark elves known as the Drow rule next to other subterranean horrors unknown to most on the surface world above. And it is the Drow who now lead an army of these creatures into the streets of Waterdeep, besieging the city from below in a campaign of blood and terror. And in their darkest hour, the Lords of Waterdeep have issued a call for a hero. Someone who can face these dark elves and all their brethren in their own land. Someone who can defeat the Hordes of the Underdark.